by taking option B and building out, you would then have a profit of between £10,000 to £45,000. So I'm just finishing off today, and what came into my mind was a question that someone asked me a few days ago, and that was about using RIGHTMOVE. Whether you could find good deals on RIGHTMOVE, whether there's opportunities on there, whether there's deals to be done. Now, full transparency, RIGHTMOVE isn't the place that I find deals. The way I find deals is direct to vendor. And that's what I've done since I ever started investing, because I think going direct to vendor is where you can get potentially a better deal, where you've got more flexibility of the terms, you've got more control over it. You haven't got someone sat in between. Typically when it's on RIGHTMOVE, it's listed with an estate agent. They've got the contract with the vendor, and it's a human trait to protect what you have. And that's what I've typically found with agents, where they're not going to give you direct access to the vendor unless you've built a really good relationship with them. It's going to be you speaking to them and then passing the message, and sometimes the communication gets lost in translation. So it's not the route that I typically go down, but there are opportunities. And how I use RIGHTMOVE is severalfold. So that is one, to look at the direction of the general trend in the market. Are prices going up? Is there more properties on the market, which would symbolize that there's going to be more opportunities? You know, just typical economics. If there's less supply versus demand, prices could typically go up. But if there's more supply versus demand, typically prices will either go down or stay stable, or there's more opportunity to find a deal, because vendors don't have as many options, and as a result they're willing to be more flexible on the negotiation on price, terms, etc. So I usually generally use it for the price trend. Where is prices going? Are they going up or are they going down? Fine. What I also use it for is to get a good trend of what type of properties or type of opportunities are selling and renting well versus not renting well. So is it that my market now, I'm seeing a good trend in 2 to 3 bed terraces going quickly, and generally that's kind of the norm for your buy to lets? Or am I seeing a lot more detached properties available? Are 1-bedroom flats not selling as quickly? Are non-ensuite rooms not renting as quickly versus ensuite rooms? It just gives you a good flavor. The opportunity is in the contrast. The opportunity is, well, if non-ensuite rooms aren't selling that quickly, that means, for example, landlords may be struggling to rent their property, and that could be an opportunity for rent to rent, a lease option, for finding a good motivated landlord who wants to sell. I also use RIGHTMOVE and Zoopla and other platforms to get a good history of past sales and transactions. They've got data for a given area on comparables, given data taken directly from land registry and combined with their own proprietary information over listings that's been on their platforms, to then be able to see what deals sold, what did it look like, what were the features, etc. So those are the 3 things that I usually use RIGHTMOVE and Zoopla for. And doing that, I usually set up a quick alert where the alert will meet certain criteria that I've set up, and every 7 days, it can be 24, 3 days, 14 days or longer, but every 7 days I get an alert over what happened in the marketplace based upon the criteria I've researched. And that's what I wanted to show you today, an opportunity that I found a couple of months ago, but it's just to give you an example of what could be found when you use RIGHTMOVE or Zoopla. And again, it's not the way I find deals. However, if you haven't got the resource, the time available, looking for deals on RIGHTMOVE or Zoopla can work. I know many people that it works well for. And in this example, I'm going to give you what I found as a potential opportunity that could have been worked upon and would have given a good potential return on investment. So the type of deals that you'll typically find when you use RIGHTMOVE, Zoopla equivalent are 2 opportunities. One is below market value, and that's where a property is listed below the typical value of comparables in the area and street. So it could be a property where the value is 100,000, let's say, comparables, and there's not much work to be done. Effectively, it's ready to go, maybe with a small amount of liquor paint here and there, but it's been sold for £85,000. So there's a quick £15,000 discount or equity right there. And the second opportunity is where you would then find a property where it might be listed at market value, but with a bit of creativity, thinking outside the box, there's an ability to add value to that property. It could be that it's worth 100,000 and it's listed for 100,000. However, maybe there's an ability to do an extension. Maybe there's an ability to go into a loft. Maybe there's an ability to rejig the configuration of the rooms to increase the amount of bedrooms available. An example I'm going to show you, this hits both of those criteria. It was below market value, as well as having the ability to add value to get even more potential from that deal. So let's get into it. So now we move on to the opportunity in hand. So on my screen, you'll see that there's a previous listing going back to March time this year. So you'll see it's a previous listing and it was sold subject to contract. Now, let's just flick through some of those pictures. You'll see it's just a standard, what I call a Coronation Street type property, 2-bed terrace. It was dated. This particular property was probate. It come through the probate process and was now ready to be sold. It's got some lovely carpet. It's got some electric heaters. It's got beautiful decor. I love it. Open plan room. What is actually a good feature, jokes aside, is actually taking away of this wall here. It actually creates a nice open plan, open space living room that then goes into the kitchen, which is behind this door here, which also had a small extension to it. The kitchen's a typical galley kitchen, very dated. The boiler was a few years old, and you can see it needed a bit of work. This is the outside. Here's the bed. Here's one of the bedrooms upstairs. Here's another bedroom, another side angle of the bedroom, and here's the bathroom. So you might be thinking, well, where's the opportunity? Well, there's two opportunities here, which I'm going to describe, and you may have seen it through me flicking through the pictures. But before I actually show you the opportunity, let's go down to what the description was. What one was, no onward chain, which reflects the probate information I shared. It said excellent opportunity for first time buyers. Remember that point. Had a really good EPC rating, considering that it needed a lot of work doing at D. Had double glazed windows, gas central heating, etc. And it was a good location, really good location for professionals, for families, for student tenants as well. And it was listed as a 2-bed and 1 bathroom. So what is the opportunity? Well, first of all, the description didn't play to its strengths. And that's what made me pick up on this opportunity and made me actually visit it. Number one, it said good opportunity for first time buyers. So for average landlord, they would typically not look at that property by just seeing that description. Now, that's a small bit. However, when we go through the pictures and the layout, here's where the opportunity sat. So first of all, with these particular properties, what you will find is the bathroom is quite large, really much larger than your usual bathroom, and it's a huge amount of space. And there lies an opportunity to change the bathroom into another bedroom. But where does the bathroom or the new bedroom go? Well, that's where you can see on the floor plan the storage areas. Now, that's a good opportunity if the storage space is large enough. And it was when I visited the property. So first of all, the bathroom space was around 9 meters squared. Now, the minimum size for a bedroom is 6.5 meters squared. Now that bathroom was 9 meters squared total. So that's a good, decent space. So this would have been a nice 3-bedroom property, not your typical 2 doubles and 1 single. This would have been 3 good sized double bedrooms, so really good for a family. And then these storage units, access 1 and access 2, were really good sizes. Now that meant you came up these stairs, you would then block off this entrance to that storage cupboard. This was actually a stud wall, and you can then make, with a bit of creativity, a shower room right here. Now, in young families, young professionals, it's all about having shower access because it's quick and easy use. So having a shower over a bathroom, it's not going to reduce the market for renters significantly. It actually will be on par. You're not going to lose a lot, but you gain a lot in the value of the property by being able to change it from a 2-bed to a 3-bed. Because as I mentioned, it could be rented to a family. It could also, because it's 3 bedrooms, be rented as a small HMO or mini-mo, and that would also increase the yields. When I went to the property, the storage space was large enough, but you have to look at the direction into which the joists of the house move in order to be able to put in a shower unit. Now, the benefit of this were the joists were running in this direction. So a great opportunity there. So in this particular market, it was listed for 125,000. And by changing to a 3-bed, it has the capacity to increase the value even further to 150, 160, if not more, because of how hot the market is. So that's opportunity 1. Now, opportunity 2, if you're thinking even more creatively, was this. That also stood out for me. It got me thinking, where does that large space go to? We can see the neighbouring properties 1 and 2. Their backyard goes to here. But in this backyard, it didn't go to where the neighbouring properties went. It went further and around the corner. So it made me think, I want to visit this property to then see where is it connecting to. Another angle of it. And that's where, going back to the description, it never talked about an opportunity for the plot of land at the back. So that's the opportunity, a plot of land. Let's go to another visual look of that. Here's where the plot of land looks on Google Maps. So here's a property, and that backyard actually went all the way to the adjoining street. So it's an L-shaped backyard, and it goes all the way to the adjacent street. So it would be a potential opportunity to actually use that plot of land for 2 options. One is you could install a few garages here at a good rate. You could then rent them quite easily. Or 2 would actually be to build out another house. And where that is even supported is because if you look at the other street, this property here is actually a new build. Let's look. You can see it's a relatively new build compared to the neighbouring properties. So this may have been built 10, 15, 20 years ago, but it shows you there's an opportunity to actually build an equivalent size house in this space here. You can quickly see that the space we're working with here is very similar to the space that was used to build that new house at the side. So that was the opportunity. 1, to change that property from a 2-bed to a 3-bed and increase the value, both in terms of the price, but also in terms of rental value. You know, you can get more for a 3-bed versus 2, both for a family, as well as being able to be used as a mini-mo, i.e. a small HMO. And then the second is to use the plot of land to build out. So let's go into the numbers. Opportunity 1 was the internal refurbishment reconfiguration. Listing was for 425,000. And using the experience I had, the refurbishment would be anywhere between £22,000 to £25,000. And the market value after, being very conservative, because that's how we want to play it. Even though it's a hot market, it's to be conservative just in case. As a 3-bed in a good rentable condition, it would be worth anywhere between 150 to 160. Really, I believe it would be around 160 to 170, but we keep it 150 to 160. So the equity from there would be from £0 to £10,000. Now, for some people that works well. And the reason being is because we know we've increased the rental value. It would go from a 2-bed renting for around £450 to £500 to a 3-bed that to a young family would rent for around £650 to £700, to actually being rented as a mini mole or small HMO, excluding bills, you would rent it to students for around $325 per room, which would equal to around $975 per month. So just by doing that, you've increased the amount of rental roll that you would get. Now, the second opportunity was to build on that plot of land. Now, there's two things you could do. One is, if you haven't got that much experience in planning and building or developing, is actually just to go through the planning process with a good architect or planning consultant, and then just get the approval and sell the plot of land with planning. That's the easier route and the quickest route, because sometimes a development can take from between 6 to 12 months, especially in today's market where there's a shortage of raw material, where there's a shortage of labor, there's a lot of demand on that. There could be delays, and in 6 to 12 months time, things could change. The costings could change. The value in which that property being built out could change. There's so many variables. So taking option 1A, selling with planning, is a decent opportunity to do. And what would the numbers be behind that? Now, you know, with the plot of land, you've got that for free, 0. So that's 0. Now, the cost to go through planning, getting drawings, getting a scheme created, getting your reserve matters completed, etc. All of those things with planning, it would be around 10,000 maximum. It could be much less than that. It might be around 5 to 6, but we'll just go with 10,000 as a worst case scenario. And then you selling at auction or using or listing with an estate agent, you can sell between £20,000 to £25,000. And the profit would be around 10 to 15,000. And that would just be a really good return on your investment. When you look at it, you're putting £1 to get £2 to £2.50 back. A really good rate of return on investment for 6 months worth of work. If you then wanted to be a bit more of a risk taker and you have maybe some experience, or you just want to get started, building out just one property or couple property is a really good step on the ladder of developing. So option B would actually be to build out. You could build out on that plot of land 2, maybe even push for 3, based upon maybe going up to 3 floors in that property. Based upon the numbers that I factored in, it's around 95 to 100,000 for the cost to build plus the planning. And the value after that, being conservative as a 2-bed only, was around 130. So the profit was around 30 to 35,000 pounds. So when we add both the uplift in the value of the original property by redecorating it, change it from a 2-bed to a 3-bed, by moving the bathroom from where it was to the storage unit, you've increased the value by 10,000. Then by taking option B and building out, you would then have a profit of between 10 to 45,000 pounds, just by doing a mix of those options. So in answer to, can you use RIGHTMOVE for opportunities? Is there opportunities on RIGHTMOVE or Zoopla? Is it a waste of time? I think it's mixed. For me, it's not a route that I go down, but there are opportunities. If you're scouring day in, day out, hour by hour, and you have really good alerts, we've just seen it, you can find opportunities. For me, as a good use of my time, I prefer going direct to vendor, but I just wanted to highlight the opportunity to you. If you're short for time, or you don't want to work direct to vendor, or that's not the route that you want to go down, RIGHTMOVE, Zoopla has opportunities and you can see it. So if that's the route that you're going down, all the best with your search.